Hello and welcome to Enjoy English School.
欢迎来到 Enjoy 英语学院。
I'm Stevie.
And I'm Laurie.
Today we are looking at part 2 of our science lesson where we're talking about an underwater information highway. We're actually talking about all of the underwater cables that connect us around the world and give us the internet.
没错，所以呢，这个昨天我们已经进到了这个探索科学的单元，那么也看到了文章的这个中文标题是这个海中资讯直航。那么今天是第2天，我们要继续来看到昨天我们所认识的这些海底缆线，到底还有什么样的有趣的资讯
？Let's take a look. Okay, so yesterday we talked about these cables that we have now are fiber optic cables. And okay, so what else do you need to know? I think it would be kind of interesting to find out how they do that. You know, 2 boats meeting in the middle of the ocean to connect a cable. I mean, that's got to be a long, long cable, right?
That's right.
So hearing that yesterday I thought was very interesting. So today starts out right in the middle of our 2-day paragraph.
That's right.
Our 2-day
article.
Thank you. So we start out the first paragraph saying, by now, you're probably wondering just how those undersea cables are installed. Now, when we install something, that means actually the only word I can think of Chinese, 安装. Right?
Yeah.
When you install a program on your computer, or you install something in your home, a new sink or something, a new toilet. I say that because I had to install a new toilet last week.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my old one cracked.
Ouch.
Yeah, they're expensive. Okay, so install is a good word to use, especially for you gamers. You always have to install new games on your computer.
所以呢，我们呢从这个文章的中间一半来看，所以你就不会觉得很奇怪了啊。所以呢，首先看到这一句，他讲到 by now， 那么到现在的话呢，你可能 you are probably 你很可能会呢 wondering 想要知道，就是呢这些海底缆线它是怎么样被安装的。所以刚刚讲到了这个 install 这个动词安装的意思。
Well, you can't just drop the cables in the water and let them sink to the bottom. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought, well, you pull it in the water and you just let it drop.
Wow, that's a very convenient way to install it.
Yeah, I think maybe in the beginning that's what they did. Maybe.
Probably.
I don't know.
At least that's the way we can imagine.
Yeah. But today we learned that you can't just drop the cables in the water and let them sink.
That's right.
Can't do it.
所以接下来讲到了 well 那么这个嘛这样子一个语气词那么讲到你不可能呢就只是呢把这个电缆呢丢到这个海里头，这个 drop 呢就是本来拿着你手一放让它这个掉下去这样子的一个感觉所以你不能只是把它丢到海里头，丢到水里头，然后让他们这里的 them 指的当然就是这些 cables 对，就这样子的下沉到海底去这里的 sink 是下沉的意思。
First thing that we're learning today, cables generally or usually have to be laid along flat seabeds. Okay, I know that sounds, we know yesterday we learned the word laid.
没错。
You lay wire, okay? They have to be laid along flat seabeds. I don't know how many flat seabeds there are in the ocean, but flat, 平的, right?
平坦的。
And how about seabed? What is a bed?
床。
Okay, so seabed. That's actually kind of the same. We call it the seabed or the sea floor. Okay? When we call it a seabed, that usually means it's a sandy bottom. Okay? the sea floor could be rocks, and a seabed, it just means the bottom. And usually when it's flat, it means it's sandy.
通常
Yeah.
就是沙的，那是平坦的
Yeah.
这个海床。那这个如果你讲到 sea floor 的话，它有可能是岩石的，但是就是都是指这个平坦的海底的地方。
Yeah.
这样。所以我们来看到这一句呢，他讲到，既然你不能只是把这个缆线丢到水里，让它自己去下沉，所以呢，讲到说，首先这个通常呢，缆线这里的 generally 就是一般来说或者是刚刚讲的 usually 通常都是呢要沿着这个平坦的这个海底呢来去铺设的。这里的 to be laid 的这个 lay， 昨天呢 Stevie 老师有讲过，就是铺设这个动词。
Second, the cables must avoid things. What do they have to avoid? They have to avoid things like coral reefs, sunken ships, and certain wildlife habitats. Okay, a habitat is the living area of an animal. Okay, and in this case, some sort of sea creature. So the cables, they must avoid things like coral reefs. And this is because if in a storm the cable starts to move, it could destroy a coral reef that was important. Or if it came down on a sunken ship and it was moving around, it actually might damage the cable. Okay. Also, certain wildlife habitats, they want to keep it out of, maybe it's a place where certain animals are endangered, certain sea life.
所以呢，接下来这一句讲到其次刚刚前面有首先，那这里就有一个其次。那么其次呢，这些电缆它必须要 avoid 是避免，那换言之就是避开的意思。避开一些东西，像是什么呢 ？Like 后面告诉我们，像是珊瑚礁或者是要避开沉船，以及呢一些这个野生动植物的栖息地，这都是电缆必须要避开的东西。
So we'll take a quick break right here and look at the next paragraph coming up right after this. Looking at the next paragraph, it starts out at great depths. Okay, when we talk about how deep the sea is, we talk about the depth. And that word, you pronounce the P. Depth. All right, so at great depths means in really deep places. 2,500 meters, for example. The cables, some only the width of a marker, can rest out in the open on the floor. All right, so this is saying basically in really deep places. For example, 2,500 meters deep. The cables, and some of these cables, are only the width of a marker. A marker, makabi, right? They're only this, like, they're tiny, okay? Some of them are very small. So some of these cables can, we say rest, because it 不是休息. Okay, this means that they can just sit there, out in the open, on the sea floor. Some of them you can do that in really deep places.
没错，所以呢，接下来我们来看到这一句，讲到说呢，在这个很深的深度这里的 great 不是太棒了这边是指呢，就是很深的深度来讲的话呢，举个例子，比如说像2500公尺深的话，那么呢，这个 the cables 这里是我们的主词。那如果中间呢，这个破折号的中间你先遮起来不看的话，你可以直接跳到 can rest， 这里是它的动词就是呢，这个这些电缆呢，这些缆线，它们可以呢，就是被放在这个海底的空旷处，叫做 out in the open，空旷处。那么呢，这里我们再回到刚刚我们遮起来的地方，讲到说这个海底的缆线，怎么样的缆线？有一些呢，可能只有像一支马克笔那么宽的这个缆线，然后呢，再去接 can rest， 可以放在点点点点点这样子的一个用法。
At shallower depths, they are buried with the help of high-pressure water jets. So when we talk about something being shallow in water, when something is shallow, that means it's not deep. So in shallower depths, meaning not so deep, the cables, are buried with the help of high-pressure water jets. Because you can't really dig in the ocean floor. Everything just goes back down, right? So they use high-pressure water jets to use water to move the dirt up and lay the cable, and then the dirt comes back down and buries it. So it's a high-pressure water jet, like you wash your car. Shh, you know, high pressure.
好，所以呢，接下来我们看到它这个相对于前面讲的比较深嘛，所以呢，再深的深度这边讲完了，这边讲在比较浅的深度的时候，所以这里的 shallow 本来是浅，加了一个er 变比较级，在比较浅的深度呢 ，they 是指 the cables 这些电缆呢，它们就 are buried， 它们就被掩埋啊。那么怎么样的被掩埋法呢 ？With the help 是借由什么的帮助？那么什么的帮助 ？of 后面告诉我们。高压这个水柱啊，或者高压水流的帮助，那么这比较浅的深度的地方呢，这些缆线就被掩埋起来了。
Okay, we talked about laying cable. Now, we're in this next sentence, we're also going to talk about running cable. Running cable doesn't mean 跑步的 cable, okay?
No.
It means you're pulling it from one place to another place. You know, you're running it. Like when you get a new telephone line put in your house, you need to change it to another room. So they pull the cable through the wall into the other room. That's called running the cable. Okay? So the cost of running cables from continent to continent can be hundreds of millions of US dollars.
那么这里的话，我们看到的这里的 running， 其实我们一样可以把它翻译成是铺设的意思啊。那么这是铺设的动作性比较强，所以像刚刚 Stevie 老师演的那样子啊。所以呢，我们铺设这个缆线呢，从这个一块大陆铺到另外一块来讲的话呢，有可能花费 the cost 是它的花费呢，会高达数亿美元。
Sounds expensive.
非常的贵。
Let's take a quick break. Okay, looking at the next paragraph. Now we've talked about, you know, laying cable, running cable, putting it, you know, in the ocean. But now we're going to talk about the kind of dangers that the cable has. Now, when you think of danger, you know, what is the cable going to drown? No. What this means is what kind of things damage the cable? Damage, D-A-M-A-G-E, damage. So, undersea cables face all kinds of dangers. Well, what kind? We'll learn in the next sentence.
没错，所以呢，我们最后一段来看到，他讲到说呢，这个海底的电缆呐，它 face 这里是动词哦，不是名词的脸，而是指面临的意思哦。那么 all kinds of 就是各式各样的这个危险，所以这个是海底电缆它会面临的，到底是什么样的危险？后面会告诉我们。
Okay, first in 2008, a sea anchor. This basically. They call them sea anchors, but they're on ships. So often we call them ship anchors. Okay?
Okay.
Because it anchors a ship at sea. To anchor something, it means to hold it in place. To hold it in one spot means to anchor something.
对。
And so a ship anchor holds you in place. So in 2008, a sea anchor weighing several tons cut through 5 cables.
Wow.
So basically there were 5 cables in one place, and this super heavy giant ship anchor that's as big as this room. Okay? Went down and just 刚好, just by chance, happened to be right where the cables were. And it cut them, all 5.
Wow.
Yeah, all of a sudden, no cable.
所以呢，接下来这句讲到说，在2008年的时候呢，有一个这个我们讲的锚这里的 anchor， 那么呢，怎么样的锚呢？这个 weighing 是重达重达好几吨的锚呢 ，cut through 是它的句子动词它切断了呢5根的电缆。
This giant anchor cutting the internet cables, this caused the internet to go down or slow down in the Middle East and India. So all over the Middle East and India, the internet either stopped or it slowed down.
没错，所以接下来讲到，而 this 是指这件事就是你前面的那个句子所以呢，这个重锚它切断5根电缆这件事情呢 ，caused 是造成了造成了这个网路呢go down 是这个整个中断瘫痪了。或者是 slow down 整个慢下来，那么在什么地区呢？在中东还有在印度地区，网络都发生了这样的状况。
Sharks too, for some reason, love biting these undersea wires. So this means sharks also, for some reason, they don't know why, sharks like to bite these wires. So if they see them, just in the ocean they love to chew on them.
所以呢，接下来讲到了 sharks too 这里的 too 是因为前面已经讲了一件事，所以这件事呢也这样，就是鲨鱼也呢for some reason 因为某种原因，但是你不知道是什么原因，所以不知为何的就也非常喜欢咬这些海底的电线。
Just like when your new puppy finds your socks.
Yep. Or your shoes.
Or your shoes. Oh, I chew on this. Yum. Yeah, that's how sharks think of internet cables. But right now, this is interesting. Right now, plans are underway. This means they're making plans right now. They're underway. It's happening. Plans are underway to lay a new cable across the Pacific Ocean. Now, the Pacific Ocean goes from where to where? Okay, Taiwan to the U.S. We'll see that in the new sentence.
That's right. 所以接下来我们来看到这一句讲到说，目前 right now 这个 plans are underway 就是计划呢正在进行中那换言之就是正在计划当中的意思那么什么计划当中呢？就是要呢来铺设一条呢这个在太平洋的这个新的这个缆线。
This new cable that they're working on, will connect networks in the U.S. and Taiwan directly, and will be run by Google.
所以呢，接下来他讲到说，那么这条缆线呢，将会直接的连接这个台湾跟美国之间的网路，而且将会 be run。这里的 run 不是跑步的意思是指经营、营运的意思。那么这里的话，它是一个 PP 过去分词那么 be run 就是被营运的意思被谁呢？被 Google 来经营。
Okay, that's about it for the article, but we're going to take a quick break and have a tiny review. Okay, there was one word that we used it's like the cable rested on the bottom of the ocean. And I want to tell students an interesting little trivia, I guess, about rest. When things are, like when we put something on a table or on a flat surface, we might say it's laying there, especially if it's something long. Oh, it's laying there. Like a person is lying on a table, or on a bed, either way. But when we see something lying there, if it's a person, we'll say, oh, they're resting. They're lying there, so they're resting. And that soon became a phrase, oh, they were resting on the chair. That meant they were sitting there or lying there. And it meant it came from people resting. And so now, over, a long, long time, when something is lying there, not moving, we'll say it's resting there.
没错， 所以呢，本来是指人休息啦，但是从人休息就是躺在那儿不动这样子的一个状态，演变到最后变成东西摆在那边不动，你也可以用 rest 这个字来形容它了。
Yeah, so just a little English trivia. That's all the time we have for today. We will see you next time.
拜拜。
第50页，探索科学，海中的资讯直航。
An underwater information highway. By now, you're probably wondering just how those undersea cables are installed. Well, you can't just drop the cables in the water and let them sink to the bottom. First of all, cables generally have to be laid along flat seabeds. Second, the cables must avoid things like coral reefs, sunken ships, and certain wildlife habitats. At great depths, 2,500 meters, for example, the cables, some only the width of a marker, can rest out in the open on the floor. At shallower depths, they are buried with the help of high-pressure water jets. The cost of running cables from continent to continent can be hundreds of millions of US dollars. Undersea cables face all kinds of dangers. In 2008, a sea anchor, weighing several tons, cut through 5 cables. This caused the internet to go down or slow down in the Middle East and India. Sharks, too, for some reason, love biting these undersea wires. Right now, plans are underway to lay a new cable across the Pacific Ocean. This cable will connect networks in the U.S. and Taiwan directly and will be run by Google.